Back in 1983, when Dave Mustaine was fired by his former band, a little outfit, you probably never heard of them, they were called Metallica. By the way, he got the boot for drug and alcohol abuse and being violent.
Metal up your ass!
Imagine that, being kicked out of a metal band in the 80s for bad behavior. How's that even possible? Anywho, back in 83 when he got kicked out, Dave didn't mope around. Instead, he put the rage he felt into creating what he called the perfect beast, a band that he wanted to be faster and more lethal than Metallica. The band he created was Megadeth.
Brother will kill brother, spilling blood across the line.
Megadeth, as in lots of death, were like speed metal thunder seething with political commentary. And along the way, they won some unlikely fans.
Nobody rocked louder, faster, and harder than Dave Mustaine.
But Dave, the son of an alcoholic, did bottom out a few times. The parties, the drugs, the heavy drinking all took their toll. As have the neck and spine injuries he suffered after decades of full-on headbanging. Then in 2003, Dave faced his toughest challenge. When an injury to his arm threatened to end his career, he says the experience actually brought him closer to God. And the boy, who was raised a Jehovah's Witness and dabbled in witchcraft, suddenly was a born-again Christian. So what does he learn from his faith? How does he reconcile it with some of Megadeth's darker stuff? We're going to explore all that with Dave, because he's back. That's right, Megadeth have a new album called 13. Pretty strong views, too, on who he'll support in the next U.S. election. Let me give you a hint. It ain't the current prez.
Please welcome to the show, Dave Mustaine. Good to see you. You too. You too. Thank you. How's things, man?
Great.
Congrats.
I'm freezing up here, though.
It is cold up here for sure.
Yeah, for being a California boy, it's pretty cold.
Well, you went to Arizona, California, too, where it's always dry and beautiful. Congrats on the new record. Well
Thanks.
done. It's, you know, there was a time when people just figured that the Megadeth train might have stopped for much longer. You know, for you to get out and put that record out, it's number 13. You know, were you always ready for this to happen?
Yeah, I was hoping so.
Well, because you had, your neck, your arms, like you had some
Yeah.
stuff going on.
I had a lot of stuff going on. The radial neuropathy in here came from nerve damage inside my bicep here, and then I had degenerative disc disease in my neck from headbanging, and they were going in there to fuse the couple of vertebrae together, and they found a bone fragment in the back of my neck that had broken off and was pushing against my spinal column. So
how long do you think you had that?
A long time. It had been bothering me for years, but I just didn't know what it was, and they didn't see it with the MRIs and all of the X-rays that they did. They missed it. They actually found the bone fragment when they were cleaning out all the debris from taking out the disc.
Man, my mother used to always tell me that.
Yeah, don't shake your head.
Headbanging is bad for you, but now she's vindicated.
Yeah, she is. We love our moms.
Let's go to the find God thing. How did you found him, he found you? How does this work?
Well, when I was 4, I was baptized as a Lutheran, and then my mom became a Jehovah's Witness, which just ruined my childhood because, you know, in America, when we start class, I don't know if it's the same here or not, but we say the Pledge of Allegiance, and Jehovah's Witnesses don't. And they don't celebrate Christmas, which sucked. They don't celebrate birthdays, which sucked. And I couldn't have friends that were normal people because they were of the world. Right. But, you know, something just happened where I was just yearning for a difference in my life. I felt really empty, you know, and you know, the drugs weren't doing it, the alcohol wasn't doing it, you know. I mean, it would make you feel good for a little while, but that was kind of like peeing your pants on a cold night. It's you know, it feels good for a little while, but it's not a long-term solution.
Well said. But then there's the God thing. Like, I know that you had toured with Cooper before, and you grew up loving Alice Cooper, but you toured with him pre his real coming out, right, as a born-again Christian?
You know, I don't know. All I know is that when we were touring with him, that he was sober already. Yeah. And I called him up one time, and I told him I was thinking about getting a tattoo, which I changed my mind, and I'm tattoo-free. And he's, you know, he wanted to help me, and I don't know who said what, but he's my godfather now.
He is.
Yeah, so he helped me in a lot of different areas, and I just went through so many transitions where I started to make amends to the people that I'd harmed, and so I am enemy-free right now, which is a great feeling. You know.
It's a new feeling too, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, the last person that was on my list was the guys in Metallica, and you know, we did the Big Four stuff, which was enormous, and then they just had their 30th anniversary in San Francisco and asked me to come up and play with them, and that was a trip.
I mean, you harbored that for a long time, and I'm sure they harbored it too.
Yeah.
For a long time. What's the process like to say sorry?
The process. There was this documentary that they did, Some Kind of Monster thing, and I think that was probably the beginning of the healing process, because you know, we were still kind of playing, you know, volleying barbs back and forth in the press because of that movie. I didn't want to be in it after I saw the footage. You know, I just figured, I'm not going to be part of this. But it came out. It was really good for me, and that was the beginning of it.
One of the things that I think a lot of people remember you from too is that you were one of the few metal singers at the time who stepped up and were very active politically. And then with MTV and the whole thing. We actually have a clip from back in the day outside the Democratic Convention.
Hi, this is Dave Mustaine from Megadeth, your MTV News correspondent, here for the evening outside of the Madison Square Garden.
We're calling for a new U.S. policy toward Korea.
Affordable housing, and you wouldn't have to be standing there eating like this. You could cook at home.
This is what's taking place out there right now. As you can see on the monitor, Ann Richards. I'd like to know when the time is going to be right for us to have a woman in the White House.
There you go. Back in the day, covering politics. Are you still into it?
Politics? Yeah, you have to be to live in America, you know, because things change every day there. You know, you just keep getting more of your rights taken away.
What are the rights that you're most concerned about?
Well, for me, freedom of speech, because I got a big mouth. You know?
Are you following the Republican race? Or, you know, do you decide which party? Are you a Republican or a Democrat now?
I'm kind of a vote for the lesser of two evil kind of guys, and it's such a disappointment watching what's happening right now. Because, you know, George Soros came out and said that Mitt Romney is just like Obama. So, I mean, what do you got there? You got Obama's mentor saying that Mitt Romney's like him, and he's leading the polls now. And Newt Gingrich, who's just so completely angry right now that he's just sputtering. To me, the guy that makes the most sense out of all those guys is Rick Santorum. He just looked like he could be a really cool president, kind of like a JFK kind of guy.
Did I read right that you were a birther? Did I read that you called into question where Obama was born? I read a quote, and I wasn't sure if that was accurate. The internet can't be believed.
I have a lot of questions about him, but certainly not where he was born. I know he was born somewhere else than America.
Well, no, but then you were a birther if you say that.
No, I'm not calling a question to it. I just, you know, it's the point.
How come that keeps coming up, but no one can prove it? And don't you think that a guy who ran for the president, they would have figured that out by now?
Well, how come he was invisible until he became whatever he was in Illinois?
Well, because I think a lot of politicians are invisible for the longest time, and then they have a big
no
speech.
record of him, no.
Well, they have a record of him.
Where?
What do you mean where? In America, in Chicago, they have records. Like, he exists. He's a person.
You think?
Yeah. What do you mean by specifically?
Well, there's the birther thing that you're saying, and you know, I want to change the subject. I don't want to talk about my president.
Okay, that's cool. I'm just curious about it. But I wondered when you, as you get older and you find, you know, your own voice in a different way, do you work that into your songs? Do you work it into the art?
Yeah, I do. There's a song called We the People on this record that completely explains what's going on. You know, when you watch people have their savings stripped away and Wall Street run amok and all of these bailouts, $500 million given to Solyndra, when Obama and his administration knew that it was going under, I think Jefferson was the guy that said when the government becomes more powerful than the people, we're going to be in trouble.
Well, it'll always fuel the art then, won't it?
Yeah.
There's enough angst to go around, isn't there?
Yeah. I guess I'm going to have to do some more homework on where Obama came from now.
It's really good to see you, man. Thanks so much for coming back. I'm glad you guys are back. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. The album's 13. I'll be right back.